Joining me right now on this is the president of California's Rifle and Pistol Association, my friend Chuck MICHEL, who has been keeping everyone apprised of all of this. Now, Chuck, it's always so good to see you, my friend. I know that they tried to, when you open Pandora's box on the internet, it's forever. And I know that they've tried to close it. There's screenshots galore. It's still going to be out there. It is what it is. This is really dangerous because we're talking about people who are police officers and judges in addition to civilians. And from what I understand, like racial aspect was also included. Talk to us about this and really the significant danger that the AG's office just imposed on all Californians.
Sure. First, let me say it's good to see you, old friend. And I love to see you thriving and battling it out with the ninnies on Twitter. It's my evening amusement every night.
There you go.
So it's great to see you, and it's great to be back on the show. Yeah, so, since Bruen came down, the entire attitude in Sacramento has been payback. They're vindictive, sore losers, and they're trying to do everything they can to limit the ruling in Bruen, to try and not let to make a permit to carry a license in public as useless as possible. They're trying to expand the definition of sensitive place where a permit would not be valid to, everything within 1,000 feet of a church, a school, or a stop sign. I mean, everything's going to be a sensitive place by the time they get finished.
Yeah.
And they're trying to ratchet up good moral character, make it so that if you ever took a mulligan at golf, you have bad moral character. And this is the kind of games they're playing. And in that context, that's when the Attorney General decides to make this grand announcement that he's going to start sharing gun data for transparency reasons. And he sets up this website portal that was supposed to have limited access to only certain publicly available public records, not private information. But by accident, as only a government bureaucrat can do, they screwed up that release, and somebody set up the website so that you could access everything, including assault weapon registration information, dealer record of sale of firearm sales information, firearm safety certificate information, gun violence restraining orders that have been issued, and the cherry on top of that mess of a sundae is all the records of every CCW holder in the state, including their home residence address. So there are a lot of celebrities and prosecutors and judges and just ordinary folks. Think of the stalked woman who got this permit. Remember, it was hard to get a permit before Bruen in California. You had to show some real threat. So all these women who had some kind of a threat, or men for that matter, had an actual threat. They don't want that person to be able to find their home address. They don't want to be able to have that person who was stalking them now be able to find them. But now that the Attorney General has put all those people's lives in danger. We had a judge out here about 10 years ago who accidentally put his home address on his car registration. A bad guy found him and murdered him and his wife.
I remember that.
So the threat to human life that the Attorney General has created by this it's immeasurable. No. Now, they've taken down the site, but you can't unring the bell.
No, that's out there permanently. Talking to my friend Chuck MICHEL, president of California Rifle and Pistol Association. Chuck, what I think is hysterical about this, sadly, I mean, really not that funny, but nonetheless, the AG's office was saying that the reason that they decided to do all of this and keep all of this data and make certain bits or certain portions of this portal accessible to, as you said, the supposed to be publicly accountable clowns that we have in office, was for transparency and to make things safer, to reduce violence, which is weird because I don't know how I could sit here and cite the studies. Yeah, I'm preaching to the choir, but people who have permits are the most law-abiding folks in the country. Those are not the people that we have to worry about. I'm pretty sure that drug dealers aren't going to be, registering their stuff.
No, this is not an academic discussion anymore. 43 states have shall issue. Millions and millions of people have CCWs. And every time the state went to switch, you got we're going to have Wild West shootouts and violence in the streets. Never happened. But that's what the politicians and bureaucrats in Sacramento are trying to parrot again. They have their talking points and never let a fact get in the way of a good press conference. But in the meantime, there's people out there who are scared because who knows how many people downloaded this information Who knows who they shared it with? Who knows where this information has gotten to? And so the Attorney General, his biggest move so far was to acknowledge his statutory obligation, his legal obligation, to notify the people that their personal information was released. So we're looking into lawsuits, and I think we'll wind up filing a class action, but that's not going to put this cat back in the bag. The people's information is still out there. And, what are you going to be able to do besides move? I mean, this is why, by the way, gun owners oppose mandatory registration of firearms, because you can't trust the government to keep your private information private. You just can't.
And this is the exact... and that's a great point. For people who don't know, we're talking to Chuck MICHEL, president of California Rifle Pistol Association. California, you have to register your stuff in California. And I will never...
All firearm purchases are registered,
It is, and it's wild because I've seen some of the permits out there. I mean, they list your stuff on the card. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, California is beautiful for that reason alone. I can't stay there more than 48 hours. It just weirds me out.
Yeah. The weather's great. That's about it, man. I mean, the Sacramento is rigged. They're not listening. All these people are going to complain to their maybe because there's a couple of 100,000 people that have these permits and have now been doxxed.
Yeah. Maybe
they'll wake up. I mean, I kind of was looking. I would have loved to have a CCW list at around election time to send those folks, time to vote, and maybe now they'll be motivated to engage and stay informed. So, CRPA is reaching out. We've got a website set up that collects all the information through the crpa.org website, because we're getting hundreds of calls, hundreds of people that want to volunteer to be plaintiffs in a class action lawsuit. And, we're going to do everything we can. Right now, we're just trying to figure out what kind of damage control the legislature or the attorney general is willing to do.
Yeah, and that's super important because, I mean, it's like a target list. This is something that happened. Newspaper did this to permit holders in New York, I believe, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Put a map and had dots where people lived on a map. They said it was, for transparency and safety. BS.
Right. Like registered sex offenders. I mean, that's the kind of database this is now they're trying to turn this into.
Yeah.
Meantime, they've got 16 bills going to Governor Newsom's desk tomorrow that will just, they don't even care anymore. Even the pretext of thoughtful consideration of whether or not a bill might do any good, that's out the window now. He's already said he hasn't even read the bills. He says he's going to sign them all. This is vindictive sore loser politics going on in California. But we're pushing back, and I'm going to get a T-shirt made. Sue, sue, sue. I just was lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit.
It's just crazy to me that we have to fight, and that you all are having to do so much legal work against people that say they're going to protect you, keep your information safe. This is another reason why people oppose universal background checks. It creates a registry, de facto registry. This is the same government that says, "No, trust us. Let's go ahead and get rid of due process. Let's go ahead and reduce it and expedite everything with red flag law." I mean, you can't, as you said, you can't trust these authorities at all.
You cannot, and I'm not speaking just about guns. I'm talking
exactly.
from 30 years of experience butting heads with bureaucrats. The only thing the government knows how to do well is grasp more power, try and take more power, and give it to them and take it away from you.
Right.
Because they once the press conference is over, they don't manage like a professional business would manage employees. They're not managed. Who knows who put this up there? Maybe some disgruntled employee who didn't like Bruin, kind of like a clerk who released the abortion ruling out of the Supreme Court. But it doesn't matter. If you're a professional manager, and that's what these people in charge of these agencies are supposed to be, you put safeguards in place so the wrong stuff doesn't get released. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And it's everyone's safety that was sacrificed as a result. Chuck MICHEL.
There's going to be blood on the Attorney General's hands over this. Somebody's going to get hurt or killed because somebody found out where they live and went to steal their gun, or they didn't like a ruling from a judge, or they didn't like a prosecutor. They're going to go hurt those people. There's violent conflict has been set up by this data breach.
Shameful. I hope that puts pressure on lawmakers to maybe reduce some of these restrictions on law-abiding gun owners in California. We'll see, though. Chuck, keep us updated, and we'd love to talk with you again as this story progresses. You can find them at crpa.org, California Rifle and Pistol Association. Chuck Michel, always a pleasure. So appreciate you, my friend, and your fight for freedom. God love you.
Have me back anytime. I'll keep watching.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chuck. Good to see you.